Saturday, the 12th of December, 2020. I'm Keith Warr, and welcome to another episode of Homeless on the Space Coast. And today I'm being joined by, what is your name, sir?
James.
James and...
Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
And are you guys a married couple?
We've been together for 11 years. We're not married.
Okay. Tell me a little bit about that. How did you guys meet, for instance?
I came to Florida with work, and I decided to venture and find other employment, and decided I wanted to live here in Florida, and ended up in Titusville, and that's where I met Jennifer. Just through mutual friends.
Okay, cool. And how old are you, Jennifer?
I'm 35.
35, and how old are you?
Just turned 41.
Okay, so you guys fairly close in age.
Mm-hmm.
And where did you grow up?
In South Carolina, upstate.
Okay, and how about you, Jennifer? Where did you grow up?
Up until 7, I was in Miami, but we moved after Hurricane Andrew to Melbourne, and from that point forward, it was Melbourne.
Okay.
So.
And did you graduate high school?
2 years college, actually, for radiology.
You have your degree?
Mm-hmm.
You have your radiology degree. Wow. And how about you?
I decided to quit the 11th grade, or going into my 12th grade year, and just go get my GED. I went the very next week, got my GED, and went to work.
Okay. No military, either one of you veterans?
Mm-hmm.
No, not veterans. And you said you have some children.
Correct. Yes, we have 3 kids.
You have 3 children together.
Yes.
Do you guys also have children separately? Oh, okay. And what are the ages of the children?
Our oldest is 8, and then 18 months apart. Our next is 7, and we have a 2-year-old boy. 2 girls and a boy.
Wow. And are they homeless out here with you?
No.
No.
We have a really close friend of the family, Jennifer's friend.
I met her in the 7th grade, 8th grade, and we've been inseparable since. And, I told her our situation. We were living in a hotel, and we couldn't pay rent for the next week, and I called her, and she came and picked them up. And
are the kids here locally?
Yeah, they're in Melbourne.
They are.
Mm-hmm.
So do you get to contact
Always, yeah.
regularly?
Every night we see them,
Okay.
Video chat, or she'll bring them up here, or we'll go that way, and depending on the weather, and she understands getting on the bus is a trip, 2 to 3 hours. Riding the bus takes a lot of time, so
Right.
we do definitely try to make a whole day of it if we're going to do a visit, like at a park or anything. But we speak to them all the time. I mean, we miss them like crazy. They miss us, and we just keep telling them we're working on it.
Yeah. So what's the cause of your homelessness? Why are you guys out here on the street now?
Oh man, I pick my brain and choose all kind of different reasons, and they change. But always first and foremost try to find my part in it, and I just feel that I made poor decisions financially, and kept moving and changing jobs, and found myself living week to week, and I was staying at an extended stay hotel and working, paying my way, paycheck to paycheck, and we thought it would be easier to room with someone, and so we met a guy, and he had a girlfriend, so it was 4 of us in one room, little kitchenette and everything. We just made do. We all worked, and I'm not sure what got into this guy. We got into an argument over money owed to me, and I left, and I think Jennifer went back and continued the argument with this guy, and he ended up pushing her, and she came up the road a couple blocks at the Waffle House where I was at, and told me that he pushed her. So I went back to confront him and ask him why, what's going on, and he jumped in the car and ran me over. And so I was life flighted out by helicopter in the hospital for 10, 15 days, and when I got out, no job, no place to stay. All my belongings were gone.
The girl that he was seeing actually was in the vehicle with him, and on my way to Melbourne, because that's where he was life flighted to, I was told that I couldn't see him because of the visiting hours, and plus he was a trauma patient. The bone was sticking out of his leg, emergency surgery, and I saw her on the bus, and You know, she was very apologetic and seemed sincere, but that night when I fell asleep, you know, we managed to crash at a park, and she robbed me. She took everything out of my purse.
Wow.
Over $300.
Do you think it was drugs? Was
Most
the
likely,
cause
yeah.
of their...
For her,
I
yeah.
think that he was probably on methamphetamines.
Okay.
Good suspicion. And his business, don't do it, don't associate with it. But I'm pretty sure it had something to do with that.
Something.
He worked at GM for 23 years as an engineer up north, and he was down here basically living off his 401 and trying to get a little small business together and try to make something, and
He just got hooked on drugs.
I believe so, yeah.
Wow. So you said that your story actually made the news. It was, you said, on the local
It
news
was September 23rd.
of this year?
Right.
Okay.
It basically reads, guy runs down bicyclist because I hopped on a bicycle at the Waffle House with to a guy that I was speaking with. I asked him if I could borrow his bike. I don't have a car at the moment, and so I wanted to get back there as quick as possible to confront this guy about why he just pushed my wife. You know, and I say my wife. I consider her my wife.
Right,
And
right. No, I get that.
So, and once I got there, he ran me over. So I guess I was a bicyclist. But
They
that's
said
how it
that he
reads.
hit the gas so hard the tires squealed, and the parking lot was maybe where they were at from here to here.
Yeah, I mean, he had all the room in the world to get out of there if he didn't want to speak to me, but he turned
actually
the wheel
turned the wheel
sharply
to him,
and
yeah.
ran me down. You know, I mean, I couldn't get out of the way.
And I had
And
no
what about
idea.
getting an attorney, insurance, and
I
all those
called
kinds of
it-
things?
Well, basically what I've learned through a lot of phone calls, many hours of begging and pleading lawyers and everything, that since he did this on purpose and he admitted to the cops on the scene that he did this on purpose, he was charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, and his insurance basically dropped him on the spot. They don't cover people to go run people over. So his insurance won't pay none of my medical bills or compensation for... You don't
Anything.
even you can't even imagine the mental trauma that
He would wake up screaming.
PTSD. I mean,
you know,
Right.
the first couple of
Yes.
weeks, all I can do is see him running me over again. I mean, he could easily
the
kill me.
screaming, you know, from him
Right.
being hit. And
So, I mean, I've called every lawyer in the book. Dan Newland, Morgan, I don't know if I missed any names, but all the big ones you see on TV, they'll all take my case and then call me back a week later and say there's nothing for me. And so, actually, through hard times and needing help with the children, we were getting assistance, Medicaid. My Medicaid won't even cover it because it's not an illness or sickness. They won't cover it. So nobody will cover my medical bills. I was on crutches for like 8 or 9 weeks. I just got off of them a couple weeks ago, but I still can't.
no physical therapy or anything.
I have a tore ACL and bone was out of my leg, and I've had absolutely no medical treatment other than the initial hospital visit.
You went from living somewhere, having this happen, and then going to, like, from the
Immediately.
hospital to homelessness?
Yeah, I
Immediately.
was living at a extended stay. It was $400 a week, and I paid every week, and I went to work every day. And like I said in the beginning, unfortunately, I made a decision to, I don't know, put all my cards on the table and live week to week, paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
I was trying to do something
Hey, a
different.
lot of people are in that position, though.
And when you're in that position, if you don't have that next check, you are homeless. I mean, there's a lot of people that are one step away from being homeless, and it happens for different reasons.
Right.
My reason was because I was run over by a maniac, and no one will compensate me. And through the state attorney's office, there is a victim's advocate, and
And I would imagine a victim's fund of some kind.
well, lost wages is the only thing that they'll cover. And so after I fill out the form and come up with proof of income, which I was working for myself and for other people as basically a 1099 guy, a contractor. So I have to come up with all the paperwork that is either
Proofs
lost
and receipts
and you know.
it's kind of hard to prove that.
Well, it is being everything's lost. All my pay stubs
Possessions
and
and-
receipts, and you know, I kept all my gas receipts or any kind of tool receipts and receipts. for
Our bags
taxes.
have been taken and gone through
So-
countless number of times since then. So who knows?
I'd have to
the
go back
stuff
to
we've
everybody
lost.
that I did work for and ask for another check receipt or something, you know.
And even then, it maxes out. You know, it's not anything
And
that's going to support us or get us off
And
the
I just
street.
started doing this in like February. working for myself, so I haven't actually filed taxes
Oh,
for
okay.
myself as an
Gotcha.
independent contractor. So I don't even have like last year's, so it's something new that I started. I put all my cards there, and I don't have proof that I was
Right, actually employed and doing this. You had no real history, and now you've had this situation. So what kind of lasting injury or do you have any lasting disabilities from this
from
as
17,
accident?
18 years old till 30, 35. I was an aerial lineman. I climbed telephone poles. It's the only skill I have. I mean, it's a good skill, but it keeps me on the road and away from my family. And that's one main reasons why I stopped doing that. I told myself I'd rather make $400 or $500 a week and stay with my family than $1,500 a week and always be out of state in a hotel somewhere away from them. So I'll never be able to do that work again. I'll never be able to climb another telephone pole. I mean, I can barely walk right now. If I sit down for more than a half hour, when I get up, I can't put pressure on this leg. I gotta get going.
He hides the pain in his face very well,
And what kind of ongoing care are you supposed to be getting for
Physical
this?
therapy.
Surgery, more
Therapy. I'm
surgery.
sure I'm going to have a couple surgeries on my knee. My ACL's tore.
He's got metal in his leg now as far as the bone goes anyway. So, I mean, there's just going to be a lot of further
So what were you
physical
told
therapy.
you should do if you need medical care for it?
Physical therapy.
No, I mean, just go to the emergency room. Is that what your
They're
only
not
option?
advised.
Is
He's
that
not
your only
advised.
option? Is the emergency room?
Yeah, that is my only option now, because even my primary care doctor, because I see him each month for blood pressure. I have high blood pressure, and so I do have a primary care, and he's not allowed to
Even look at it.
talk to me about it because he can't bill my insurance.
He's suspecting there's a blood clot, and even so, being a doctor, he's still responsible to take care of him as best as he can. So, with that being said, there's going to be testing done for that, but it's probably going to have to come out of pocket. So,
Right.
we're just not 100% sure yet.
And how are the children handling this?
They miss us.
They miss us
Bad.
very bad, and my 8 and 7-year-old,
They've never spent a day without us.
It was really hard at first, the first month, and we're just keeping their spirits up, and telling them that Mom and Daddy's got to get our place, and
And they're so strong.
they're doing wonderful.
They're doing
Each
really
child
good.
my oldest had straight A's last report card. My youngest had to repeat the first grade. She was having some trouble with reading, and
Now she's like the top
and
of her
she's top
class.
of her class. She was repeating the first grade, so they're doing
My
wonderful.
son speaks
So our
like
friend,
a big kid,
Our friend who is caring for them is doing absolutely wonderful.
So they
it's-
their life is normal right now, more or less, sorta. Like they go to school, they have clean
It's more
clothes, they
stable.
have food, it's stable. They have
stable.
food on the table
Dinner
every
at
night.
6
Our
o'clock,
kids have
bath
everything
time.
they need right now.
They don't
They're
want for
perfectly
anything, yeah.
fine, but they want us, and
Right.
It's really
Right,
hard.
Christmas is coming up.
Absolutely.
And my friend does everything in her power to make sure that they see us, that they talk to us. If they miss us, she'll stop whatever she's doing and call. I mean, she's so great.
So
she's so
I-
amazing.
I don't want you guys to give an actual location. I don't want you to do that, but describe the conditions like right now. Like, where are you sleeping? Like, you guys have a tent? Are you in the woods? Are you like? How would you describe it without giving away the location?
Cold.
It's been very cold.
Very
the past
cold.
few weeks.
There's a cold weather shelter here in Titusville, but you
It's
can
not
only
open.
stay there when it's 45 and below.
And they just opened it, I believe, a couple days ago. I'm not 100%
yes,
sure.
yes.
So I mean, it's cold. We had a tent.
You had a tent, so you no longer have a tent.
Someone took it. It got destroyed. Found a piece over here, a piece over there.
Yeah.
We've lost all of our belongings at least 2 or 3 more times since this originally happened, because we can't obviously carry it all with us throughout the day
Right,
when we're
right.
trying to fend for ourselves and eat, and and try to go to appointments and whatever we have to do throughout the day. So when we come back, a lot of times it's gone.
So how many changes of clothes do you guys have?
Enough for 2 or 3 days. We keep
Okay.
that in our bags.
And you have sleeping bags, blankets.
Blankets, but they're not great. They're just
Right.
something that were handed down or we found just with the cold weather.
Once again, we keep replacing it. It
Yeah.
keeps getting stolen. So we're just
We definitely don't go out and buy a new comforter if we do come across, a couple
Right.
dollars, because it's just going to get taken. I mean,
Right. And do you know who it is? I mean,
Yeah, I
obviously
have
it's
an
probably
idea.
somebody else that's homeless.
You see
on the
somebody
street.
walking down the street wearing your jacket, you know what I mean? You kind of tend to have an idea, and they're coming out of your area. That there's more than one person. You know, you'd be
Right.
surprised that looking at an empty parking lot or an empty storage area or store that used to be there, you'd be surprised how many people actually find a spot to crash or live or put their stuff. I mean, if you actually look at it and kind of explore a little bit, you'll find suitcases or bags or evidence of people staying there recently and stuff like that. So it's not like you're ever really, really hidden or really, really
Right.
protected, you know?
Yeah, do you guys feel safe out here?
I mean, I
Have
do
you
with
been
him, you know?
With him. So
But
have you
I
guys
can't
ever
be by
been
myself. No.
assaulted or
No,
no? Okay.
I kind
We're not that
And-
in
and
of keep
nature as
people out
well.
of my space. I
Yeah.
mean,
And what about your run-ins with law enforcement? What has that been like? Have you
Just to
had
check our
any?
name. I mean, they stop if they get a call like somebody's soliciting or panhandling.
So if you're
They don't like it.
panhandling,
Yeah.
you guys get called on for
Yeah,
panhandling.
they check make sure we don't have any warrants or running from anything, and then they let us go. I mean, a lot of them stop and talk to me because they remember that day that he was
Yeah.
hit. They'll stop and ask me
yeah, a lot
how
of
he's doing.
The Titus
Mm-hmm.
or the local officers, they were on the scene when I was
Yeah.
hit, and they know that I was working before and I wasn't homeless before, and now, I mean, maybe they have a little pity that, you know,
Yeah.
this guy is run over, he can't walk, he can't work, now he's sleeping on the street, and
They know we're good
just
people.
trying to make a couple dollars to eat.
Yeah.
But some of them don't care, and they'll be kind of rude and threaten us to be arrested or whatnot.
Until they hear the story, and then they start to feel kind of the other way. But they're pretty much we respect them, they respect us. You know, we don't give them any
Yeah, I mean,
problems.
not that I feel better than any other man on the street or woman, but I tend to keep to myself and don't associate with, you know, other homeless people, just because I need to focus on myself, and so we're pretty much loners. You know, we don't.
Right, and usually that can bring trouble with the other ones. Because a lot of the other ones are out here for drinking or drugging,
Right.
some kind of
absolutely.
mental illness.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Which we try to be there for them as well. I mean, you know.
Right. No, I
Yeah.
get that too. I understand that. What about friends and family here in Florida or in Titusville? Do you guys have friends and family?
We have one friend here locally, and she comes and checks on us, or if we need a ride to the doctor or something that we can't get on the bus for, or if we need 75 cents for a bus, and she'll take us. She'll come pick us up. Her daughter loves us. So a lot of times it's because she wants to see us. I'm a mom, you know, kids tend to gravitate towards me, and they tend to gravitate towards him because he's a real, you know, big teddy bear, you know. They like the way we treat them, kids especially, but her mom is just amazing. She does a lot for us.
So you guys don't have any friends
No,
and
we
family
we
here
don't.
really
I
in the
don't have
area
any-
to kind of take
I
you
don't have
in?
any friends or family in the area.
I have a mom
She-
and dad. They're
she
real
has-
toxic though.
She
They're,
has, and we've, I guess maybe that was probably the beginning of our poor decision making once we were together and we started having kids. We found ourselves trying to take the easier, softer way, and her parents live over in Vieira, in a nice community, and they
Manicured
want the
lawns
grandkids
and-
always around, and they've tried to get us to come into their home, 5-bedroom home, you know, and save money and buy our own place. But you know, every time which has been 2 or 3 times, we'll go there, and then she'll basically take all my money.
and tell us to leave because we're not doing something she likes, or leaving a light on in the bathroom. She's just not.
It's just real toxic.
Real toxic.
It's real toxic, and
She's been that way
just
since
this
I can
last-
remember. So.
Just this last December, Christmas Day, her dad ended up hitting her in the face. I think he was drunk on Christmas Day in front of my children, and so we called the police. He was arrested for assault and battery, and the mother kicked us out. So we come to Titusville, and I was paying $392 a week at first, every week.
We had to sell our car so we could afford a couple more weeks.
And then that's when I run into this guy, and we started rooming with someone to try to save money. And then, you know, obviously we asked our friend to help us with the children. So it's just been one thing after another. And like I said, I want to take responsibility for my part, and I feel like I've made some poor decisions with money and jobs, and found myself where I was one step away from being homeless and got run over, and now I'm homeless. So I'm doing everything that I can, I feel, to try to end my homelessness. I don't want to be homeless. It's very
Depressing.
depressing, and
Have you been in contact with any of the local churches, Coalition for the Homeless,
I mean,
any of those organizations?
Bless their heart. I'm sure they all have good intentions, but it seems like in Brevard County, everybody that has help or wants to help, they just reach in the drawer and pull out a blue card and read down the list of phone numbers. And
A lot of them were shut down with COVID,
and
and
they'll want to read you the blue card as well. But it just seems like it's a big circle, and nobody really has the help that we need.
Right.
or we don't qualify, or we have to meet a certain
There's
criteria.
always a qualifier there used to
Right.
disqualify you.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Right. And then even with shelters, there's shelters for men, women, and children, but not for couples.
Right,
Or
families.
families.
Right, they don't
Right,
keep families together.
So why in the world would I want to be away from my children?
Why would he want to leave me out here by myself?
Right.
You know.
Right, absolutely.
So we just
So we're doing the best thing we fly, and that's, letting our friend who's taken absolutely wonderful care of our children and let us try to solve our problems. And
keeping them as safe as possible, which is with her.
So what is the I guess plan now? Are you able to work in the radiology, or do you have to get your certification
I
up
have
to
to get
date?
recertified. Yeah, it's been a long. When I graduated, they were just converting to digital.
Okay.
So a lot of the texts and a lot of the studies are different. It would most likely have to be like a refresher course type thing, but at the same time, the time that it would take and having 3 kids, I just want a job where I can count on a paycheck and
Right.
to come home and be with my family. Yes, I would like to pursue it. Yes, it would be nice, but it's
But you
not.
can't really do that
No.
now, especially from the street. People
Right.
don't
And that's
understand
it. They
you're not
do
clean,
They
and
do not. And
you
so
know
it is
It's hard to
very,
walk in
very
somewhere and try to
difficult.
get a job when you haven't had a shower in 3 days.
Right.
It's very difficult to go to work, especially for someone, not just men and women, but doing physical labor or working outside. You're completely dirty and
Yeah.
sweaty, and
Yes.
you go home and you lay on the ground in your tent,
And you're
to wake up the next morning and be fresh and ready and alert and give your 100% best.
it's not
effort.
realistic.
Not at all.
I mean, showering with a hose in the back of, a business that's closed for the evening, looking around the corner, making sure no one's going to come, and he's standing guard and handing me a bucket to shower. I mean, it's humiliating,
Yeah.
and you don't do it a lot, but you do it when you know you have to because you don't feel good. You don't feel good about yourself, and you don't think other people see you as, I guess other people's view of how, for me personally, it's like they look at me and they're like, let me get away from her, or let me walk further down the road instead of the easy
If
short
anybody
way,
would stop and just give us the courtesy that we're supposed to give each other
As human
humans
beings.
and talk to us for 2 minutes, they'll realize, wow, these people don't belong out here.
Yeah.
And what's happened here?
Well, this is kind of what I do, stop,
Yeah.
get to know somebody. Why are they out there?
because we
Who
don't
are they?
belong on the street. Absolutely, we do not.
Not that anyone belongs on the
Right.
street, but I get
Some
where
people
you're
are
coming
okay
from.
with
I get what you're saying. So Christmas is coming up. If you had any Christmas wish at all, what's or
A week in a
something you
hotel.
need? A week in a hotel.
Wake up so I can shower and
Yeah. Okay. And you guys do social media, so you guys should join the Homeless on the Space Coast Facebook
Yeah,
page.
first time we're hearing about it, definitely will.
People who watch these videos like to connect with people like yourselves, and maybe they have a job or an opportunity or clothing or.
I mean, I would
you
go to
know,
work tomorrow if I had a sit-down job. I just need the employer to understand that, I can't do physical labor right now with my leg. I mean,
yeah, he's not lazy. And
Right.
he's not, wanting. I mean, literally, he wakes up in the morning and he forces himself to walk, to take that step. He's in so much pain, and he's not on medication. He's not.
yeah, I chose
You know what I mean?
to, not leave with pain meds. I didn't want to.
At first, when he got out, I was just terrified because it's like every move made sent him into this I'm in so much pain look. I would cry because I felt like I couldn't take care of him, and I'm supposed to be his wife, and I'm supposed to be able to help
No
him,
one's
and I
good at-
couldn't,
No one's good at crutches.
Right.
And being on the sidewalk and in the street.
Oh yeah, when he would
fell, like,
hit his
all
foot or
the time
something.
during the first couple of weeks of on crutches. I was on crutches for like 9 weeks, and it felt like I broke my leg again.
Yeah.
I literally would start crying. I mean, it hurt so bad, and people would stop. Are you okay?
And he doesn't cry, believe me. The only time he's ever cried is the birth of his children. And this
All
is the
three
only
of
other
them.
time. All three of them, everyone.
Okay, all right. So we're about to wrap up, but do you have any messages for any friends or family or anyone who might see this? Is there anything you want them to know?
Well, for me, I guess it's really just I would like the person who's taking care of my children just to understand that we are trying our best and we thank them.
And there's no way that we can ever really fully repay her for what she's doing. Because if it wasn't for her, who knows what kind of life they would have. Looking at them and just thinking that they could be in a home with somebody that can actually give them whatever they want, you know?
And maybe a message for other people who, because anybody sitting here watching this video has some kind of interest or care, and just to understand that everybody out here
He's not a drug addict.
is not a drug addict or alcoholic or a thief. I can't go in stores and steal food, you know, I don't have it in me. So
Don't scream out the window, you know,
get a
curse
job. I
words
mean,
and, you
people
know.
holler when I get a job, buddy, would you stop and talk to me and I'll tell you why I can't get a job right now, you know? So just have a little
Don't judge.
I've had some
right
of those
away.
cruel things happen
Oh,
to
absolutely,
you.
every day. Every day.
Every day. Yeah, or men will stop and ask how much and stuff like that. It's just
Oh,
cruel, you know?
Proposition her like she's, you know, a working girl on the street, and no. I mean, that
I'm a
is-
mother. I have 3 children, and they look at me like, you
So
know,
the next time you want to holler out the window at a female who's on the street to
It
be
hurts.
degrading, it sticks with them and it hurts them, and so stop.
because that's what they look at you as. They don't look at you as a person. They
Right.
look at you as something they can pay for and then just leave, you know. And it's not. Some women do it, and you know, I don't judge them. But if you don't know for certain, don't holler stuff like that. It's just not right.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. All right. Well, listen, you guys can connect with me, like I said, on the Homeless on the Space Coast Facebook page. You can also personally friend me on Facebook at KEITHWOHR. I do respond to your messages and your questions and things, and you can leave a comment also on their video. If you know of some help or a service or something here locally here in Titusville, please feel free to reach out and let me know. And as always, may you be just as blessed as you have blessed others. Until next time, thanks for watching.